Today, we're jumping into something that really represents a big shift in how students might tackle standardized tests. We've got a set of sources detailing this 12-module course, AI Prompting for SAT Success.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because it's not about, finding shortcuts or trying to game the system in a dishonest way.
Mm.
It's really about using AI for precision, for making prep way more targeted.
Right, it's about leveraging the tech. The
Yeah.
sources frame it as a major commitment, shifting from just randomly starting for the test to actually building a system to master it.
That system idea is central. They explicitly state the mission is to, and I'm quoting here, transform your SAT preparation from scattered practice into a systematic, AI-powered mastery system.
Systematic. That
Yeah.
word really stands out, doesn't it? It suggests something repeatable, something you can actually measure and improve.
It does. And they back it up with a pretty bold, quantifiable goal, building the confidence for a 100, 200-point score boost, which, is significant. And the whole premise is using tools like ChatGPT not as like a magic answer machine, but as a dynamic partner, a coach almost.
A personalized coach. And the structure seems key too. The sources emphasize how it's expertly scaffolded, like the modules build on each other very intentionally.
Exactly. You don't just jump into complex stuff. You learn the tool first, understand its quirks, then apply it, then learn how to get even more out of it. It's a progression.
So it starts foundational, moves through content, and then gets into really advanced strategy and even mindset by the end.
Precisely. Weeks 1 and 2 are all about foundations and ethics. Then you dig into the core subjects, and by weeks 9 to 12, you're focused on peak strategy and test day readiness. The promise is that this systematic approach cuts out a lot of the wasted effort in traditional prep. Hashtag tag tag, foundational skills and strategic diagnosis, weeks 1 to 2.
Okay, so let's start where they start. Module 1. Introduction to AI in SAT prep and ethical use. It seems critical, but why kick off with ethics before even touching, say, algebra?
Well, because you absolutely have to understand what the tool can and maybe more importantly cannot do before you rely on it for something high stakes like the SAT. The objective they've stated is clear. Understand the role, benefits, and limitations of using AI for SAT prep. It's like setting the ground rules right away. AI is powerful, sure, but it has known flaws.
And the biggest flaw they seem to highlight is this idea of AI hallucinations.
Right. Plausible sounding nonsense, basically. The source material is pretty blunt about it.
Well played.
One piece of research they cite suggests a baseline model could hallucinate, generate plausible but wrong info something like 45% of the time, especially when dealing with nuanced SAT-style questions or subtle facts.
Wow, 45%. So if you just blindly trust it to teach you, say, a specific historical event for a reading passage.
You could be learning complete fiction almost half the time. It's sabotage, unless you're trained to double-check and verify everything. The risk isn't trivial.
So it's not just factual errors. What about other risks mentioned?
Bias is the other big one. These models learn from enormous data sets reflecting, well, us.
Yeah.
All our historical biases, language quirks, societal norms, they get baked in. So an AI might subtly favor a certain type of essay structure or interpret a historical passage through a specific, potentially skewed lens without the student even realizing it. You have to know its output reflects its training data, not some objective truth.
Which leads straight to their core philosophy, right? The AI is a partner, not the final word.
Exactly. A thinking partner, not a content generator you just copy-paste from. The ethical line is crystal clear. Responsibility for all AI-assisted work rests with the student.
So even if the AI explains a math problem perfectly,
The student still needs to trace the logic, confirm the steps, own the understanding. They have to be the human in the loop, always validating.
okay, that makes sense. Establish the rules of engagement first. Then it seems they pivot pretty quickly in Module 2, Diagnostic Testing and Personalized Roadmap. This feels like the shift from understanding the tool to actually using it strategically.
Yeah, this is where the personalization engine kicks in. The objective is to use AI to pinpoint exact strengths and weaknesses and create a personalized study plan. No more generic practice sets.
And the method involves what they call AI-driven diagnostics, using a full-length adaptive test, ideally the official Blue Book app.
Right, and the adaptive part is absolutely crucial for the digital SAT.
Why specifically adaptive? How does that change things compared to, say, a paper test?
Because the digital SAT is adaptive. Your performance on the first section directly determines whether you get an easier or a harder second section. If you struggle early on, you get bumped down to an easier module, and that literally puts a cap on your maximum possible score, regardless of how well you do on that second, easier part.
Ah, okay, so a static test just can't replicate that dynamic. The adaptive format gives you a much clearer picture of where you stand relative to those scoring bands.
Totally. A score, like say 1350, doesn't tell the whole story. The AI analysis they describe goes deeper. It looks at where you struggled in the adaptive flow. Did you peak early? Did you fail to get to the harder math module? Why? Was it pacing on geometry? Or maybe misunderstanding specific question types like nonlinear systems? That's the kind of granular insight you need.
That level of detail then lets the student craft that first really important prompt, doesn't it? The one that turns data into a plan.
Exactly. This is where they essentially hire their AI tutor. The prompt they give as an example is pretty direct. Act as an expert essay tutor. Based on these diagnostic results paste summary, create a personalized study roadmap for me. Focus on my weakest areas first.
So you're not just asking for advice, you're assigning a role expert essay tutor and giving it a clear directive based on your specific data.
Precisely. It sets the whole tone for the weeks ahead. The AI becomes this uh, data-driven project manager, making sure every study session is targeted at the stuff that will actually move the needle towards that 100-200 point goal. Hashtag tag 2, core concepts and advanced prompt engineering, weeks 3 to 5.
All right, so foundations laid, roadmap created. Now we get into the real meat, right? The core content mastery, starting with Module 3. Mastering the math section with an AI coach. This is half the score, so it's huge.
Yeah, and the objective is straightforward. Learn to use AI to master S8 math concepts. This is where you shift from planning to actively building skills.
And it sounds like the key here is avoiding generic drills and focusing on targeted drills dictated by that initial diagnosis.
Exactly. If the diagnostic showed you're weak on, say, quadratic equations, you don't waste time on geometry proofs. The AI helps generate practice exactly where you need it. Zero wasted effort.
Let's talk about the prompting for that. How do you ensure the AI spits out useful SAT-level problems?
You have to be super specific with the parameters. The example prompt shows this. Generate 5 SAT-style hard difficulty math word problems focused on quadratic equations. Provide a detailed, step-by-step answer key.
Okay, so S8 style, hard difficulty, quadratic equations, and crucially, detailed step-by-step answer key.
Right. That forces the AI not just to give the answer, but to actually teach the process, matching the test's complexity.
And this ties into another technique they highlight, chain of thought, or COT prompting. Can you unpack that a bit? What is it, and why is it better than just asking, what's the answer?
Sure. COT basically means you force the AI to show its work, to think out loud. The prompt might be something like, solve this geometry problem and explain your reasoning step by step. Instead of just the solution, the AI has to lay out the logical sequence. First, I recognize this theorem applies. Then I calculated this angle. Next, I use that to find the side length.
Ah, I see. So for the student, it's not just seeing if they got it wrong, but pinpointing where their own thinking process went off the rails.
Exactly. It trains that structured sequential reasoning that's essential for complex math problems. You constantly see the optimal path from problem to solution modeled for you.
And then there's using AI for error analysis on your own work. That sounds incredibly powerful, like analyzing your mistakes in real time.
It's the feedback loop closing. You don't just look at the right answer. You feed the AI your wrong answer and your flawed steps and ask, I solved this algebra problem and got the wrong answer. Here was my approach, describe steps. Where did my logic go wrong?
And the AI becomes a diagnostician for your thinking process.
Right. It might say, you misinterpreted the inequality sign here, or you forgot to distribute the negative sign in step 3. It catches the specific cognitive glitch.
That immediate, personalized correction must be key to stopping bad habits from forming, right? Turning one-off mistakes into eradicated pattern.
Absolutely. Okay, shifting gears to Module 4, excelling in the reading and writing section. The challenge here seems different, less about calculation, more about nuance, tone, and having enough relevant practice material.
Yeah, the objective seems to be using AI to generate basically unlimited high-quality practice passages that match the digital SAT's specific style short adaptive format texts.
And getting that right requires careful passage generation prompting. Just asking for a passage about science won't cut it. You need those constraints.
Like the example they give. You are a test prep expert. Write a 150-word SAT-style science-based passage for an 11th grade reading level on the topic of genetic engineering. Match SAT tone and difficulty.
See, role, length, topic, reading level, tone, difficulty, it's all specified. That's how you get something that actually feels like it could be on the SAT.
A big part of this section is also vocabulary, right? Specifically, words in context, those high-frequency academic words.
Yes, and this is where things get a bit more technical with techniques like ROG retrieval augmented generation.
Mm.
The sources mention using a specific example prompt around the word ephemeral.
Retrieval augmented generation. So what's the core idea there? How does it help with vocab?
It's about giving the AI extra verified information within the prompt to ground its response. Instead of just asking it to define ephemeral and hoping for the best, you might provide the definition yourself or a sentence using it correctly and then ask the AI to generate SAT-style answer choices, including plausible distractors based on that context.
Ah, so you're giving it guardrails. You're ensuring the context is right and then asking it to create the multiple choice challenge around it.
Precisely. And the source material notes this really boosts accuracy, like from potentially 47% accuracy in just asking for content to 74% when using AGA. That's a huge jump in reliability for generating useful practice. You get realistic, tricky distractors.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're building content mastery with highly tailored AI assistance. Then comes Module 5, Advanced Prompt Engineering Techniques. This sounds like where you go from being a user to being like a director.
Yeah, a power user is the term they use. It's about moving beyond simple questions to more complex interactions. Two main techniques: role-based prompting and nested prompting.
Role-based. We touched on that with the expert SAT tutor. How else is it used?
It shapes the entire perspective of the AI's output. Asking generally about, say, the Pony Express gives you basic facts, but prompting it with act as a historian specializing in 19th century communication networks and analyze this passage about the Pony Express, well, that changes everything. The focus shifts, the vocabulary changes, the analysis deepens.
So you can use it to analyze reading passages from different angles, like a literary critic versus a sociologist.
Exactly. It trains you to recognize the specific lens or bias an author might have, which is a key SAT reading skill.
And the second technique, nested prompts. That sounds like efficiency?
Peak efficiency. It's about bundling multiple related tasks into a single structured request. Saves time, ensures comprehensive output. They mention frameworks like IDEA or PARTS to structure these.
So instead of asking 4 separate things,
You chain them logically. The example they use is creating a whole mini lesson on systems of linear equations. The one prompt tells the AI to define the concept, explain its importance, illustrate with examples, and assess understanding with practice problems and an answer key.
wow, all in one go. That really does turn the AI into more than just a search engine. It's like an on-demand curriculum developer.
Pretty much. A highly responsive educational assistant tailored to your needs, #tag3, practical application, and deep analytical strategies. Weeks 6 to 8. Okay, so halfway through the course, week 6 to 8, the focus really shifts. It's less about learning new content and more about applying it under pressure and getting strategic. Starting with Module 6, timed practice and pacing strategies.
Right, because knowing the material isn't enough on the SAT, is it? You have to execute quickly. The whole test is, what, 2 hours and 14 minutes? Casing is everything.
Absolutely. Spend too long on one hard question, even if you get it right, and you might run out of time for 3 easier ones later. It's a time management game.
So how does the course tackle this?
Through simulating pressure in manageable chunks. They talk about using AI to generate microsections, maybe 10 math questions, with a strict, say, 15-minute timer. It replicates the feeling of the clock ticking without the burnout of doing a full 2+ hour test every time.
And the AI comes in after the timed section.
Yeah, that's the critical feedback loop. The student inputs how long they actually took and uses a specific pacing feedback prompt. Something like, I completed these 10 math questions in 20 minutes. Based on the standard SAT timing, analyze my pacing and suggest where I should speed up or slow down.
That's brilliant because it takes the emotion out of it. The AI isn't judging you, it's just comparing your time against the benchmark.
Exactly. It might report back. You averaged 2 minutes per question, exceeding the target. Questions 4 and 7 involving geometry took over 3 minutes each. Consider reviewing foundational geometry theorems or practicing time-saving strategies for these types. It's objective, actionable data.
So you're building not just knowledge, but the actual rhythm and endurance needed for the real thing.
Precisely. Building up that stamina for the full marathon.
Okay, then Module 7. Using AI as a Socratic opponent. This sounds intense, like turning studying into a debate club.
Maybe a little, but it's about honing critical thinking in a really active way. The objective is literally to enhance critical thinking by prompting AI to challenge your arguments.
So instead of just finding the right answer, you're pressure testing your own reasoning.
Yeah, using a devil's advocate technique. Let's say you're confident about answer B on a tricky reading question. You prompt the AI, my answer to this reading comprehension question is B. Act as a devil's advocate and provide two strong arguments for why my answer might be wrong.
Whoa. So you're forcing yourself to consider the weaknesses in your own choice and the potential strengths of the distractors.
Exactly. It makes you scrutinize the evidence more closely, anticipate counterarguments, and really solidify why your answer is the best answer, not just a plausible one. It builds resilience against those tempting wrong choices.
I can see how that would be amazing for understanding how test makers craft those distractors. And how does this apply to those multiple perspectives questions? The ones comparing two passages.
It's perfect for that. You feed the AI two short texts, maybe arguing different points about renewable energy subsidies, like in the example. Then you prompt, summarize the core argument of passage 1 and passage 2, and then explain the precise point of disagreement. Okay. The AI has to dissect both arguments and pinpoint the exact conceptual clash, the specific point where they diverge. It trains the student to do that synthesis quickly and accurately.
So you learn to spot the nuances before the multiple choice options try to trick you. You're pre-armed, in a way.
You got it. Immunized against confusion.
Yeah.
Okay, then Module 8, Deep Error Analysis and Pattern Eradication. This feels like a culmination point for all the practice data gathered so far.
Right, moving beyond just fixing one wrong answer to figuring out why you keep making the same kind of mistake over and over.
Because often, students don't even realize their errors are connected. Maybe they consistently misread questions with double negatives, or always mess up percentage increase calculations in the same way.
And this is where the AI's pattern spotting ability comes in.
Yes, with the pattern recognition prompt. The student basically uploads their error log. Here are the last 20 SAT math questions I got wrong, along with my attempted solutions. Analyze them and identify the top 3 recurring error patterns in my work.
That's a heavy lift for a human tutor, but an AI can crunch that data instantly.
Instantly. And it might come back with something incredibly specific like pattern 1, misinterpreting at least versus no more than in inequality word problems. Pattern 2, calculation errors when dealing with exponents. Pattern 3, choosing reading comprehension answers that are true but not supported by the specific text.
Knowing the pattern is one thing, but how do you fix it?
That's the targeted follow-up. You don't just get the diagnosis. You immediately ask the AI for the cure. Okay, based on pattern 1, generate 5 practice questions, specifically designed to test my understanding of phrasing related to inequalities.
So it creates custom drills laser-focused on breaking that specific bad habit.
Exactly. It's a closed-loop system. Practice SOL, diagnose error, identify pattern, targeted practice, reevaluate. That iterative cycle is what drives the systemic score improvement. Hashtag Tech5PIVRI. Peak strategy and test day readiness, weeks 9 to 12.
All right, we're in the home stretch now, weeks 9 through 12. It looks like the focus shifts again away from deep content dives and more towards pure test-taking strategy and getting mentally ready. Starting with Module 9, high-yield hacks and strategic guessing.
Yeah, this is about mastering the mechanics of the test itself, especially crucial because, remember, the digital SAT has no penalty for wrong answers. You must answer every question.
So guessing isn't just allowed, it's required. But it needs to be strategic guessing.
Precisely. And a key part of that strategy is understanding the enemy, the distractors. Those wrong answers aren't random. They're designed to look appealing.
So distractor analysis is about figuring out the logic behind the wrong answers.
Exactly. The prompt they suggest is something like, for this question, explain the logic behind each incorrect answer choice and describe the common trap either one represents. The AI might explain, choice A is a trap for students who misread the negative sign. Choice C uses a keyword from the passage but twists its meaning. Choice D makes a logical leap not supported by the text.
So you're learning to recognize the common types of bait the test uses, like building up an immunity.
Totally. A defensive strategy. And this feeds directly into guessing systems. If you can confidently eliminate even one obviously wrong answer using this kind of analysis, your odds on guessing jump from 25% to 33%. Eliminate 2, you're at 50-50.
And the AI helps model this elimination process.
Yeah, it can walk through the logic. Okay, based on our pattern analysis, we know you sometimes fall for 2 broad summary statements. So let's look critically at choice B. It applies the learned patterns to make educated guesses, not wild stabs.
Building confidence even when you're not 100% sure. Okay, then Module 10, full mock exam simulation and analysis. The big one, the final dress rehearsal.
Yep, the capstone. A full, timed mock exam, ideally using the official Blue Book app again to get that adaptive experience right. It tests everything together. Knowledge, pacing, stamina, strategy under pressure. But crucially, the exam itself is just step one. The real value is in the analysis afterward.
And this requires what they call the ultimate analysis prompt, pulling everything together.
Right. It synthesizes data from the entire course. Using their example score of 1350, the prompt would be something like, I just scored a 1350 on the full mock exam. Provide a deep analysis of my performance, including timing breakdown for each module, the top 3 remaining error patterns, and 3 actionable prioritized recommendations for my final week of study.
Wow, that's asking a lot. It needs to integrate pacing data, error patterns, content weaknesses.
Everything. It's like having a whole team of tutors analyze your performance and give you a super focused plan for the final push. It validates all the work done so far and pinpoints exactly where the last few points can be gained.
That clarity must be huge heading into the final phase. Which brings us to Module 11, Final Review and Confidence Building. Sounds like shifting from intense prep to ensuring you're mentally solid.
Totally. High-stakes tests are mental games too. Confidence is key, and this module builds it strategically. One cool tool is the AI-generated cheat sheet.
A cheat sheet, not for the actual test, obviously.
No, definitely not. It's a personalized review sheet created by the AI based on the student's entire performance history across all modules. It only includes the specific formulas, grammar rules, or types of errors that this particular student struggled with most.
So it's not overwhelming, it's just your personal list of things to keep top of mind. That must feel incredibly empowering, like you know exactly what your potential pitfalls are.
Gives a real sense of control. And then there's the direct focus on managing anxiety. They actually suggest prompting the AI to act as a motivational coach.
Seriously, like asking the AI for a pep talk.
Kind of. More like asking for practical strategies. Act as a supportive coach. Give me 5 practical techniques for staying calm and focused during the SAT. Or asking it to generate a detailed night before and morning of checklist.
Okay, that makes sense. Taking the thinking out of the logistics, making sure you eat breakfast, bring your ID, pencil sharpened, all that stuff so your brain power is reserved for the test itself.
Exactly. Minimize cognitive load on the day.
And finally, Module 12, Test Day Readiness and Final AI Drill, the very last step.
This is purely about execution and positive momentum. The sources call it the good vibes side of prep.
Good vibes. How does that translate into AI prompts?
It's mainly about the final warm-up. The AI generates a very short drill, maybe 15-20 minutes, of only easy to medium difficulty questions the student typically gets right.
So no hard stuff, no risk of getting demoralized right before the test.
None. The goal isn't learning, it's just activation. Getting the brain firing smoothly on familiar territory, reminding yourself, yeah, I know how to do this.
And the overall mindset here is about trusting the process.
Absolutely. Trusting the system built over the previous 11 weeks. You've done the work, identify the patterns, practice the strategies. Now it's just about executing that plan, not cramming or panicking. The AI-driven system provides that foundation of data-validated preparation. #HadOutro.
What an incredibly detailed roadmap. It really paints a picture of transforming how a student interacts with their own learning process. Moving from just, absorbing information passively to actively directing their study with AI as a partner.
Yeah, they're not just learning algebra or grammar. They're becoming prompt engineers for their own success.
Yeah.
The student is firmly in the driver's seat, the human in the loop.
And the core promise, the real engine behind the potential score boost, seems to be that precision and personalization you get from really smart prompting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It aims to cut out the wasted effort, the hours spent drilling things you already know, or practicing in ways that don't address your specific weaknesses. It focuses relentlessly on the highest leverage activities based on your data.
It redefines what efficient studying looks like, which leads to a final thought, maybe a broader question for our listeners to mull over.
Go for it.
Well, this whole system hinges on AI's power to instantly analyze performance and find those recurring error patterns. So the question is, if you could point that kind of analytical power at your own life, your career maybe, or your habits, your decision-making, what's the most significant recurring error pattern you'd want it to identify for you?
Applying deep error analysis beyond the SAT, that's potent. Imagine using that kind of targeted feedback loop for personal growth or professional development. That's a really interesting thought.
Definitely something to chew on. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into this framework for AI-powered SAT success. Thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.